Hare Krishna. So I only got 3 days left. Yes. Yeah. So can't wait. Let's tell a story. We're in Kenya, Nairobi, and it's a good place for Harinama. There was only two of us, just me and the guy, because the rest of the boys they're not so keen on coming out on the streets. So we would go different places, and we wouldn't know if it was dangerous or not. We'd just hit different streets, and there's many stories actually. So I'll start with this one, and we'll see where it leads up to. So we went onto one street, and apparently it's just like a butcher's market, and all the butchers came out in their white suits covered in blood, and they're watching the Harinam party, and then they start dancing and chanting, and then one of them is like, he knows it. He goes, I know this mantra. And then Uriga goes to speak to him. And he used to be a devotee. Can you believe it? And now he's a butcher. Like dealing with meat, cutting meat, selling meat, probably eating as well. He said, I used to be a devotee, And please bring me all the books. And we brought all the books, and he was preaching to the other butchers, so they bought as well. Oh man, I could never imagine that could ever happen. But he was preaching to the other butchers. We would just chant and he would explain everything to them. It was bizarre. There was a few moments like that. We'll just run into the most unique people. So there's one more unique person, and I'll explain at the end. But stick around for the kirtan for my own sake. What else can I do? Namo Vishnu Padai Krishna Pastai Dale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Deve Rani Pracharine Vivasesha Navani Vastita Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shadvita Gadadhara Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shadvita Gadadhara Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shadvita Gadadhara Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna. How's that tune go? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama, Cool. Knock it down. Another day done. Done deal, mate. Ooh, yeah, yeah, yeah. That last tune I like a lot. It reminds me of New Zealand. My Vicious and I would sing that tune when we did this whole country tour. We'd drive like 5 hours every day and be in like, okay, what are you? Wow, isn't that nice? So you go this way, and then you got good light, but you got no good background. Anyway, so reminds me of New Zealand. And New Zealand, for me personally, no offense to all New Zealanders, it's one of the most boringest countries in the world. Maybe it's an Aussie thing, who knows? But yeah, I felt it so boring. My God, that was like really things, really boring. But anyway, so we did this whole tour, the whole North Island and South Island, driving 4 hours every day, and they gave us a car which didn't even work. It kept overheating, so you have to turn the heater on and open the windows to make sure it didn't overheat. And then if it went too far, then you just have to stop the car and wait. And all the other cars had to wait for us. It was insane, And like, you know how hard it is to drive 4 or 5 hours every day and not like fall asleep? Oh gosh. And there was all these like squirrel things always jump in front of your car. You see them all dead on the side of the road. But yeah, every time we hit it was like a tiny town. There was no one there. There's only 4 million people in the whole country. So like if you go to like small towns in a small country, there's not going to be many people, right? And but it was fun because we had so many devotees come along with us. They were so excited to have Mahavishnu Swami there. And Maharaj would give class nearly every morning. And those devotees, they were working hard, cooking and arranging different things. It's a nice project actually. You could, in Australia, you could do like a whole state thing, in Victoria. Get a whole caravan, a few cars together, and then arrange to stay at different places and hit those small towns, because I guess they never hear the holy name, so everyone should get it, every town and village, so why not? Yeah, and it's beautiful nature as well. I think a lot of movie companies, they shoot there. The Lord of the Rings was shot there. And you can see like, yeah, this is straight out of a movie, some of these nature scenes. Yeah, but they're very conservative actually. They pretend to be like outgoing, but I'm sorry, I don't buy it. But anyway, yeah, that's the New Zealand tune. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Just goes on forever, and I like those kind of tunes where they're like melodious and they go forever. They're the cool tunes, I like Lokanath Swami's tunes. They just Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Harinama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Yeah, look at that song. You can't beat him. Is that like it's oozing with Bob. Look at that Swami. So we're talking about Kenya, weren't we? Yeah. So it was just me and Uruguay most of the time. He would do books, and I would do the Harinama. On the first few days, they'll think, who are these crazy guys? Then what are they doing? And then after like the third day, they kind of warm up to you. It's like, okay, they're not just coming and going. They're around. And yeah, so we went one different direction. Sometimes the local devotees would join us, so they'll take us different places. And yeah, they came around one street, and there was a butcher. And usually they just go through, don't really interact so much. But all the butchers came out, and then they liked it. They danced and chanted. And we kept going past it every day. We were there for a month, actually. And we kept going past there, and at one Sunday it was like empty. The city was empty. Actually, the temple's really nicely situated. It's a 15-minute walk into the CBD, so that's really convenient. And then one Sunday, like I go, where's a good place to go on Sunday? They said, oh, the city's empty. I go, oh, let's just go anyway for the sake of going. So we went through, the city is empty, and then one guy, he's taking photos of us, and he says, I'm from the newspaper, and like he didn't look like it, you know, he just looked like a regular guy. Because from a newspaper, please give us your names and stuff, and you maybe saw it on Facebook, and we ended up in the national newspaper. Um, and they wrote any name like Harinam Ruchi, Bunke Bihari, something, and the real guy was just wrote any name. But we got in there after after 2 weeks of preaching. We're in the national newspaper, and we're just dancing, chatting, nothing special. But that's the most special thing in this Kali Yuga. Everything's faulty, and this is the only thing that works, the most greatest quality. And there's nothing in the 14 worlds except chanting of the holy name. So I guess they experienced that. So yeah, like I said, this butcher was preaching to the other butchers, and then when they saw us in the newspaper and he was showing everyone, they bought more books, and they were so happy to see us. And more and more people saw us in the paper. Go, hey, that's you, you know, like we became like instant celebrities, which is nice, in the Nairobi CBD. And yeah, there's a lot of street kids there. I don't know, we call them the glue kids because they're always sniffing glue. And you know, and they're not like teenagers that like ran away from home. They're like, yeah, no chance right from beginning. Small kids under the age of 10, and then all they can do is sniff this glue every day. Yeah, but they would join in. The whole society rejected them, but we're the only ones who accepted them. They'll chant and dance and follow us all the way to the temple, and then we would feed them food for life prasadam, and then they felt good. And even the security guards at the temple, they're like, yeah, you guys are doing the right thing. So I was yeah, that was really cool. They were like, because there's no attachment for them, and then they got into it and they'll chant really loudly and then follow you, and it looks like a whole thing, and people get confused because they were like the scum of the universe for them, you know, totally rejected. Why would you hang with them? You know, they steal and this and that. But for some reason, like, it softened people's hearts. It's like, why are you dancing with them? Well, it's for everyone. God is for everyone, and especially those, Kunti Devi says, those who are materially exhausted, they can really get the Supreme Lord. But those who are Bogeshwaya Prashaktanamtai Prahita Chetasam Vyavasi Apikabudi Samadona Vidiyate, those who are bewildered, their minds are bewildered by material opulence and sense gratification, then the resolute determination for devotional service does not take place. So yeah, that's the danger of opulence, you could say, or some sort of prestige or benefit to the material world. You can forget your relationship with God. But when you got nothing left, and you know, someone offers you some Krishna consciousness, then you hold on. It's really good. And because they were sniffing glue, so before we left, we were in Radhadesh, and Kadamba Kamaraj gave me some Nishingadev oil from Mayapur. And because they were always sniffing the glue, so we give them the higher taste. So then we'll like put the single oil, we'll give them we'll put it on their hand, and then they'll smell, and they're like, wow, this is much better to sniff than this glue. And all the kids knew about it, and then even the ladies came up to us because they saw like, oh, we're putting something to smell in them, and they're like, okay, they like their perfume, so they go, can we buy this perfume? So yeah, the kids got purified, and sometimes there'll be some person that will give us a hard time, and then these glue kids will stick up for us and beat the guy up. You know, it's like amazing. Actually, Kenya was a really nice time, and they all believe in God. Yes, love of God is the purpose of human form of life. And they take books whether they're Christian or Muslim, because their whole thing is how to know God, and they're very philosophical. So if there is some real philosophy on how to connect to God, then they'll take it. So one time, Uruguay, he was also, so he was doing streaming books. He was talking to a young man, and he's showing him some books. Then an older man came, and he was thinking, "Oh, I must be a Christian. He's gonna preach against me." And he was like getting ready for the fight. And then he comes and says, he goes, "This Prabhupada is, like a genius. He's teaching how to become pure Christian. Yes, how to become pure Christian. He's teaching how to love God. This is not like a religion conversion thing. No, this is actually how to develop a relationship with God. And you should take all the books." So this young man took like a whole stack of books, and then this older man also took some. So maybe he'll buy for someone else. So that many of them have read the books. The only problem was that because they come from a different tradition, African or externally it looks at African or some sort of other tribal thing, whatever. It could be some other tradition. And then when you come to Krishna consciousness, it looks like you gave up your tradition to join the Indians. That's what it looks like. So that's why they don't get so many coming through, or maybe it's a bit harder to get them to come through direct to the temple. So then this one devotee, Govinda Prem, made what's called like a base, like in India. They have university students stay there, and it's near the temple, cheap rent, and they have to attend morning program and help with preaching programs. So they're there, and they're getting initiated and everything. It's a really good initiative. And the all university students are very intelligent, and they always get prasadam, they in the kirtan, and they help with preaching. So that's really good for them. And because it's a big jump for them to walk into a Hindu temple, just like a Hindu would feel uncomfortable walking into a mosque. How would you, if you came from the Indian Hindu background, how would you feel walking into a mosque? It'd be very uncomfortable, especially if no one's there to show you around. So how can we expect those who don't come from some remnants of Vedic tradition to know how to behave or feel comfortable within a situation like that? So that's why Harinam Sankirtan, it just delivers the essence of Vedic culture, the essence of Vedic hymns is the Maha Mantra, and they can attain full perfection from chanting the Maha Mantra. Aho bata swapachoto garya yasjivike avitapadan tubhyam tapas te juhu shasharya brahmanachu namagrananti yate. Oh, how glorious are those tongues who have the holy name on the tips of their tongues, even though in low birth of dog eaters, chandalas. It means that they've studied everything, all the Vedas. It means they've done all the penance and austerity. It means that they've got the best behavior of the Aryans. They've gone to all the holy places, and they have the best behavior. Yeah, so like everything's covered within chanting the holy name. They're able to perform sacrifice. So much qualification comes from chanting the holy name because it's Krishna himself. And that's the Yugadam for this age, to get purified and be elevated to a love of God. The temple in Kali Yuga is on the street, and we gotta go there. And I gotta go there. I'm stuck in here, stuck in this jail, stuck in this quarantine. And I want to go home. I want to go to my home on the street, chanting, dancing, being friendly with everyone. I don't care where you come, who you are. You're gonna chant and dance. You're gonna like this. I don't care. Oh, it's fun. It's natural. I'm looking at one video of a Harinam at the St. Kilda Festival, and it's not something like better or whatever. It's natural for the soul. This whole dancing and chanting and being together and being with strangers you never met from different backgrounds and dancing together. You can't do that artificially. It's not possible. Only through this Yugadama Harinam saying that it's creating the spiritual world where the souls are connecting with Krishna together through chanting and dancing. That's real happiness. Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam, ever increasing ocean of happiness.